Okay, so it's time to start shooting. We finally have the bows in our hands. If you are a right-eye dominant person, you're going to be holding the bow in your left hand. If you're a left-eye dominant person, you would be holding the bow and you would have a lefty bow. This is a right-eye dominant bow, and you would be holding it in your right hand. Okay, so I'm going to be right-eye dominant. I'm standing with my right eye further away from the target. The target is that way. I have the bow in my left hand. The way you're going to pull back on the strings is there's something in your fingers. It's called the archer's groove. Okay, it's this groove right here, the crease, the top crease in your 3 fingertips. You're going to put those 3 fingertips and you're going to hold them under the arrow when the arrow is on here, and that's where you're going to be pulling back from. Okay, you don't want a death grip on the string. You want to just hold the string in your archer's groove. Okay, from here, I just want to talk about something called a dry fire. Okay, a dry fire is when you don't have any arrows on the bowstring and you pull it back and release it without having anything on the bowstring. I'm not going to do it because a dry fire is very bad for the bow. You can snap the bow in half and you can also hurt your arm very badly. So it's very important you don't do a dry fire. Only fire the bowstring if you have an arrow on it. Okay? To knock the arrow, you're going to come up and over. Remember that the opposite color is facing away from the bowstring. Okay? To knock the arrow, you're going to have a little click and it's going to go onto the bowstring. Okay? Then your 3 fingers in the archer's groove would go underneath the arrow just like that when you're going to pull it back. Okay? First thing in the steps to success that we're going to talk about is the stance. Okay? Once you come up to the line, you're going to straddle the line with 1 foot in front and 1 foot behind the line. Okay? So if I'm right-eye dominant, my right foot's going to be further back, and my left foot's going to be in front of the line. Okay? The next step is to knock the arrow, which we already did. You're going to come up and over and knock it onto the bowstring. Okay? The third step, is to get your drawing hand set. So that is where you put the bowstring in your archer's groove, and you're going to put it right underneath the knocked arrow. Okay? The next is to get your bow hand set. That just means to get your bow hand comfortable, get a good grip on the bow, make sure you're holding it in the right spot. Okay? Pre-draw is you're going to pull your hands up into position. Your arm is totally straight. You don't want your arm bent. And then you're going to draw. When you're drawing the arrow, you're going to pull and hook your forefinger into the corner of your mouth. Okay? You're going to get that anchored in the corner of your mouth. You're going to aim, so you're going to look down the point of the arrow. You're going to set up your shot, so just make sure that your arms are in the right position. Release and follow through by pulling your arm back towards your shoulder. Okay, so those are the 11 steps. Just to go over them again. First is stance, 1 foot in front, 1 foot behind, so your dominant foot is behind. Then you're going to knock the arrow, come up and over, opposite color facing away. Make it click onto the string. Get your draw hand set, archer's groove, underneath the knocked arrow. Your drawing hand set, your bow hand set, good grip on the arrow. Just going to take a step back so you can see over here. Next is to pick your hand up in a draw, pull it back, anchor it into the corner of your mouth, aim. Then you're going to set up the shot to make sure your arms are in the right spot. You're going to release and follow through. Okay, so those are the 11 steps to archery success. Stance, knock your arrow. Draw hand set, bow hand set. Pre-draw is just lifting up your arms into position. Drawing, then you're anchoring into the corner of your mouth. Aim, so you're going to look down the point of the arrow and line it up with the target. Shot setup is just to make sure that your arms are in the right position. You want to have your arm back. You don't want your elbow in front of you here. You want it back and behind you, like you're squeezing your shoulder blades together. And then the release and the follow through is very important. You don't want to release and keep your hand there. You want to follow through to your opposite shoulder. Okay, so those are the 11 steps to archery success.